email on the 6th of March, and you will have till the 12th of March, which is the Friday before our general meeting at noon, to cast your ballots. So we're gonna close that off at noon. So that gives you a good week to vote. And then the general meeting in March, we will do the swearing in, and the swearing in will be in lieu. We might have a short program, but it will be pretty short because we're going to do the swearing in of the new officers in March. The other thing I want to let you guys know is that we talked at our board meeting. Somebody had brought up last month if there was any long-term financial planning done for what is in the Treasury. We had a pretty long discussion at the board meeting, and what we have decided, and Katie mentioned this because Katie's career has been in not-for-profits for her whole career, is that we probably need to do some strategic planning for the Guild in general. Pretty much what has happened in the Treasury, I think, has happened at the whim of, not, I shouldn't say whim, but at the discretion of the board, whichever board is in place, without much planning. But we have a balance now that we need to really be more strategic about what we're doing, you know, make some decisions about how we want to spend the Treasury, save the Treasury. Do we want to have some money put aside and then use another amount as working capital? But the decision we've come to is that it shouldn't be just this board that is making those decisions. So in all likelihood, we will wait until we are able to meet again. We will form a committee that will do strategic planning, and within that strategic planning committee, there will be financial planning. I think there's a lot of board members who have financial services backgrounds. We have CPAs, you know, we have people that have worked in not-for-profits or who volunteer for not-for-profits. So we have a really wide array of people, and we hope to get some of those people to volunteer to be on the committee. We'll form the committee, and then they'll set our goals, or they'll set the mission for the committee, and then we will send out to the entire Guild some kind of survey about what do you see? How do you feel about how the Treasury should work? And, you know, should we budget money for yarn, for example, for yarn for the groups that we knit for? And, you know, do we set aside money, you know, for an emergency, that kind of thing. But we want to involve just more than just the current board or any really future board, have a lot of input from the entire group and the members, and hopefully have people on the board that have some kind of background in these kind of things. And Katie has agreed. She's done these strategic planning for not-for-profits for many years to be on the committee. And you can certainly volunteer now, and we'll keep your name, but I think that the realistic thing is that it'll be when we can kind of get together and have some meetings about this. So we did have a long discussion about it. We are thinking about it, and I think going forward, that's kind of how we will handle it. So I think that's all. I think, oh, I did have one member news. Sister Mary called us, or she called Mary Dale Bannister and had a long couple of conversations with Mary. And she is it March or April? Is it March, Mary, her birthday? March or April?
She's muted. So
yeah,
we
anyway, on her next birthday, I think it's in March, yes, might be April, but Sister Mary is turning 93. So anyway, that was the member news that I had. So I think that's everything. So it's just about 12 or 13 after. I'm going to stop. We're going to go ahead and unmute Ann. We'll get started on the program. We'll finish the program, and then we'll finish up with the rest of the board presentations.
And Ann, you should, oh, go ahead, Mom.
I'm going to go ahead and pin myself. There you go. You did it. Hi, everybody.
Hi,
I've seen some of you sometimes in classes or online places, but whatever. It's good to see everybody. Let's see, Kathleen Kathy asked me to talk about short rows. And when I was looking at the email, I think I had a miscommunication, and you guys can pipe up and decide. I sent you wrap and turn, like traditional wrap and turn and German short row, which is very closely related to Japanese, and I can do them at the same time. But one of the questions that Kathleen brought up was the idea that short rows, since I'm going to do a presentation for you on short rows, is that there are basically two families, and I wanted to show you both and why they're different, and which is why I sent a handout and had you do homework for the wrap and turn and for the German/Japanese, which I can show you both quickly together. Is that okay? Give me a thumbs up, or I don't. Okay. So since Notorious closed and since COVID, just shameless self-promotion, I have moved online, and I'm teaching probably about 3 times as many classes. I have everything from just a little bit on Tuesday nights for our techniques to, 6 or 8 week long classes on sweaters. There's a lot going on. I've had a lot of people, since I've changed my platform onto a public platform called Eventbrite. That I've had people from California, from Colorado, from the East Coast. They find you via keywords, so it's a broader base. Anyway, I hope to see people again in person, but I'm low on the vaccine number, so it'll be at least this year. And so I want to talk about short rows. What I have here is a little camera. I'm going to switch over to the camera. If everybody got, there's a handout about the swatch, and then there's a handout about kind of row by row of how to do the 2 things I was going to talk about. If you have those 2 things, I'm going to refer to those 2 things. If you don't have them, I'll still say it all out loud and you'll be able to get it. Let's go. Let me show you. When I do this, I'm going to switch to a camera that shows my hands. You should be able to see large, my hands, and a swatch. I might turn on another light just because I'm finding that I have a new camera and it doesn't love these bright colors. Anyway, if you take this short row class with me, I do this swatch, which is wrap and turn, shadow wrap, German, and Japanese, and we practice all of them, and then you end up with a way to compare how they look in fabric. We are going to do these 2 today with a little add-on of this one. Okay? So,
Hey, Ann, can I interrupt?
Of course.
Just because I'm really bad at it, but if people can't see Ann, if you go to the upper right where it says view and you click on speaker view, it makes what Ann is doing larger on your screen.
And I have pinned myself, but I did not spotlight myself, which would make it, but I can't. Whoever's the owner of this group could spotlight me and it would override anybody who has a gallery view. Okay. The other thing is I will open up my chat and make sure that I can see questions. Sue, if I miss a question, if you want to follow the chat.
I will.
Thanks, Katie. Then and just shout out to me. I'll either say I will get to that in a second or yes, let me show you. Okay. Okay. Yep. So it's helpful if I have a spotter, especially if my hands, if I'm looking, because I'm here and then in another place.
Got it.
Okay. So let's talk about the 2 families. We're going to start with the family of short rows, which includes the traditional wrap and turn. The traditional wrap and turn uses a stitch outside of the stitch count to turn back. What short rows accomplish, and you can see pretty well in this swatch and why we even do them at all, is short rows are called short rows because you're knitting just a little bit in the middle of something or on one edge of something, and it accomplishes more fabric in that spot, which accomplishes, for say a sweater neckline, a better fit. It raises the back of your sweater up. Or if you're trying to get an asymmetrical line in the back of your sweater, it drops the back of your sweater down so you can have kind of that back hem line. It also, you can imagine here, would accomplish a sock heel or any of those kinds of things. We use short rows for those kinds of things, and they are so called because we don't work a whole row of knitting when we are doing a short row. Okay, let's talk about the first set of swatch directions. And I am going to talk about this page first. And then I'm going to pivot straight over to the directions I want to follow here. And unfortunately, I'm not the queen of formatting. I couldn't get the idea of all of this, how to do this. And actually, I didn't want to, because this might be something you save. But this actually has how many to do between each wrap and turn. And this has how to accomplish the wrap and turns and the resolution rows. So there are two different kinds of pieces of information here. Let's start with the swatch row. And the first thing I want everyone to do, and then look up at the camera, is to do row 1 of the wrap and turn section, which is knit 27. And then let's talk about wrap and turn and how to do it and whether it matters which way you do it or whatever. So we're going to knit 27. I've got my swatch here, but knitting on camera makes it looks like on the screen it looks C6, so I don't do it unless I'm teaching someone to knit. And I think I probably need to pull my camera down just a little bit. It's fighting to focus, isn't it? Which also makes me seasick. And I'm now, I think, spotlighted for everybody.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the first direction was to knit 27. And so we do want to get to the other side and do a right side wrap and turn. If you followed the directions and have some selvage, it's actually, we're going to wrap and turn the last stitch right before the selvage. Hang on a second. Let me spend a little time with this guy. Okay. Oh, and I did it with the wrong color. So let's start with the right color so you can actually see what I'm doing, but I'm not going to undo that. Well, yeah, that's too dark, isn't it? Hang on. I got distracted by my mom has been sick. She's fine now, but my siblings are blowing up a text thread right now, and I need to turn that all off, don't I? Sorry about that. Okay. So now I have gotten to the point where I've asked you to knit 27. And so here are my 27 stitches, right? In a pattern that is asking you to use traditional wrap and turns, they will say knit 27, wrap and turn. We're wrapping and turning the 28th stitch. That's really important to remember because it's the reason why you can't just willy-nilly substitute wrap and turns for German short rows, which you will see in just a second. So for me, on the right side of a wrap and turn, I work to the turning point. I bring my yarn forward. I slip the stitch. I take my yarn to the back, right? I slip this stitch and return it just so that I don't forget to do that. You can forget to do it when all the yarn is in the same color. Now I won't because I've got different colors. And then I turn. So that was, see how that's wrapped around there? That was the wrap and turn. And now I'm on the wrong side of my fabric. All right? That's the first wrap and turn. So let's practice, that's a right side wrap and turn. Let's practice a wrong side wrap and turn, which requires me to purl, I don't know how many, 23. Go ahead and do that. You won't make the same mistake of using the wrong colored yarn, or maybe you did, and we're just gonna switch it out. And you don't have to have alternating colors. I think it makes it a little easier to see on camera if I have two colors. Usually, you probably won't emphasize your short row sections by having it be a different color. I just wanted to give us plenty of chances to work both kinds of wraps and turns and both kinds of resolution. Honestly, the wrap and turn is easy. It's getting it to look right after you're done with it. That's the problem for me. Okay, so now I've purled. And again, the directions for working a wrap and turn on a purl side, maybe I should pull this over a little bit, are you work to the turning point, you slip the next stitch left to right, yarn to the back, slip it back, yarn to the front, because remember we're going to work a knit row next and we want the yarn in the right place to work a knit row once we turn. And here we go. So we've got another, we've wrapped at the base of this stitch and turned. If you're more comfortable wrapping counterclockwise or clockwise, my sense about that is that it doesn't matter that much which way you wrap. I just do that. I try to make sure I do it all in one fell swoop so that I don't forget where I am in the process. So then we're going to work over 19, which is just a few away from the last wrap and turn. I'm not going to be super careful about how many I am away, but I do want to show it to you a couple more times. We're going to wrap and turn, and then we're going to work that resolution row. All right. Coming up. And the other thing people say that most patterns will say work to the space or work to the divot or work to the last wrap. And sometimes that's hard to find. I've emphasized it by doing it in 2 colors here. But there you really do, it really does make a little space in your knitting, honestly. When you've got the wrap, there's a space there because what's on this is 1 row lower than what's to the left is 1 row lower than what's to the right. So there's always just kind of I call it a divot, a space. So you can work to 3 stitches before the wrap stitch. This is the wrap stitch. It's got that little wrap on the bottom. And working 3 stitches before that means you've got 3 stitches and the wrapped stitch. That's what that direction means, because what they want you to do is wrap the 3rd stitch in front. So they want, if they're telling me, and I got this big problem from changing them, if they're telling you to work to 3 stitches before the last wrap, here it is. And here's 3 stitches before the last wrap, and I'm going to wrap this stitch. And remember, our wrapping process is yarn to the front, slip the stitch over to the right needle, yarn to the back, return the stitch. Remember, we're wrapping outside of the number we've been told to knit. And then here's that little wrap. It's basically kind of swinging around the pole. And then once we turn, the yarn is in the right place and ready to purl. And your directions might give you a number, or they might say purl to 3 stitches before the last wrap. Sometimes I like to go look for that before I get too far. And you can see here, since I changed colors, it's very clear. But there's also an extra purl stitch wrapped around the base of that stitch, and that's your clue that that's the wrapped stitch. There's an extra little purl bump on there. See? One, I don't know if you can see it. 2. You'll be able to see it better in the lighter yarn because I didn't change in time. Sorry about that. Let's get to 3 stitches before your last wrap, which should be 15. I don't know, it might not be. And you'll see it in both ways in a pattern. They'll either give you a number or they'll tell you to go to a certain number of stitches before the wrap. And the wrap is the stitch that is wrapped. 3 stitches before the stitch that I've wrapped. And now I'm to that point. And again, a purl side wrap is yarn to the front, slip the stitch, yarn to the back, turn. Actually, probably want to slip the stitch back and then turn. And again, my yarn is at the back and ready to knit. And I've got this bar at the base of this knit stitch, which will wrap it. A lot of people ask, do you pull that tight? I actually do pull that pretty tight. I don't leave that loose because this thing will get knit together with a stitch, and it changes the course of the fabric over here if it's not too tight. It can make the 2nd stitch super loose. So I pull that pretty tight. Can you see how tight that is? That's not just sitting there. I pulled it quite tight. All right. Questions, comments? Nope. Okay. We're going to knit all the way over to 3 stitches before the last wrap. I've got an eye on my time, so we can do German too. Okay. Now there's a better example. Here's the wrap. It looks like the little bar at the bottom, 3 stitches before that wrap. Here I have it. Here's the wrap stitch. Here's 3 stitches before. Yarn forward, slip to the right, yarn back, slip it back to the left, and turn. Okay. Let's talk about resolution instead of doing the rest of these so that we have enough time to do German. So when you're done making your short rows, what the pattern will tell you to do is purl across to the end of the row or knit across to the end of the row, knitting or purling your stitches together with the wrap, right? Well, that's easier said than done, I think, especially with wrap and turns. German short rows, it's super easy. With wrap and turn, it's kind of hard. On the purl side, the resolution, you work to the wrap stitch, you slip the wrap stitch left to right, and you lift the wrap onto the needle and purl them together. But it's that doing that easy resolution is what makes people dissatisfied with their wrap and turns, because that resolution leaves half of your wrap on the front of the fabric. So here I am, I've gotten to my wrap. I get here, I lift this up, I put this here, and I purl these 2 together. Well, for sure, that little bar is going to be on the front. And that's the resolution of the wrap and turn, unless you jig and jog back and forth, which is what leaves people cold. The knit resolution of the wrap and turn, here I'm going to do this again and you'll really be able to see it. I lift up the wrap, I put the stitch back on the needle, and it closes the hole just fine, right? But it leaves a bar, let me get to the right side, that a lot of people don't like. And if you're going to do the wrap and turn, just leave the bar, and it's a design element. You can see this little bar, that's half a wrap that's left on the front of your fabric, right? Now for the knit side, which I'll go and do right now, that doesn't happen, because the knitting the 2 together automatically puts your that wrap to the back of the fabric. When you're knitting in the round, lots of times you can resolve all the stitches knitwise. If you're knitting flats, half of them are resolved with a bar in the front and half of them aren't. And that's why people don't like the wrap and turn, because it leaves half the purl side resolution leaves half a wrap on the front of your fabric. You can see it there. It's okay. I mean, it's not like someone at the grocery store looking at the back of your sweater would just think that was part of your sweater. It's the knitting people who care about these little blips on the front, right? Let me get to the resolution of the wrap and turn on the knit side. So here I have knit to the wrapped stitch, and you can see the wrap stitch because it's a little bit tortured by that wrap, right? And there's a bigger space here. You should be able to see those. The resolution of a knit wrap is bring this here, put this up on your needle, on your left needle, and then put the stitch back on. And then when you knit this, that wrap automatically hops to the back. And that's actually a really nice resolution, and it works just fine. Let me show you again. Move the wrap stitch to the right needle, lift the wrap, put the wrap stitch back on the left needle, and knit the wrap together with its wrap stitch. And now it's got the wrap on the back. And remember, I told you to pull those tight. If you didn't, I mean, that one was pulled pretty tight and it still looks like that. I'm going to do it one more time. Move the stitch to the right needle, pick up the wrap, knit the 2 together, and the wrap will sit on the back of the fabric and be perfectly fine back there, honestly. Let me finish my row and we'll talk about these and look at them. Okay. Again, a resolution on the wrong side when you're purling gives you this little blip unless you work really hard at getting the whole wrap to the wrong side of the fabric before you purl the 2 together. The resolution on the knit side is fine. Actually, You know, I don't think you see them. You can see them on the wrong side. See those three little exaggerated things? Those were the wraps. And sometimes an extensive blocking or a whole bunch of them can show up on the right side as loose stitches. Okay, wrap and turn. Traditional wrap and turn ends up looking like this. You end up with blips. But, and I can't say this enough times, in a pattern that asks you for wrap and turns, you are using a stitch outside of the stitch count to wrap and turn. That's what's important about that. And that's what's important about substituting it. I'm going to knit real quick. I'm going to knit a row of, no, I'm not. Yeah, I am anyway. I'm going to knit a row of red real quick just so you can see. And if you want, we'll do German short rows in just a second. But I want to do a row or two of red so you can differentiate. Questions about wrap and turn? Y'all are so quiet. It's not like being in a room with people at all.
I know.
We're all on mute.
I don't have anything on the chat. Nobody has asked a question on chat.
No, I'm going pretty fast. So can you tell me yes or no if, I think a lot of people know how to do German short rows. Do you want me to do half German and half Japanese since they're actually virtually the same thing with just a little blip of difference?
Use your reactions and give a thumbs up. Yes.
Let me see if I can, I need to switch one of my cameras to gallery because I can only see my.
Here's some chats. Japanese would be fun. Yes. We're getting.
And there is
Okay.
a question in the chat. Why would anyone want to do wrap and turn?
So yes, the reason to do wrap and turn is if you don't want to think your way through, or if there's not room in the pattern to think your way through changing to German. German short rows use a stitch inside of the stitch count as opposed to outside of the stitch count. If a pattern asks you to do wrap and turn stitches, you have to know how to substitute. And basically it's subtract one, or just knit what they say and then don't wrap the stitch, just turn and do the German short row on the last stitch of the stitch count. But the reason to do wrap and turn would be because they asked you to. Now, sometimes they might, like I would always just do wrap and turn because it's a little bit easier in a garter edge thing or a garter stitch thing, because there's no reason to finagle anything else in a, there's not, you don't even really have to wrap, you can just turn. In a garter stitch piece, it doesn't matter. But in a stockinette piece, sit down and think your way through to do German, because it's harder to get wraps and turns to be even and look nice in a stockinette, in a field of stockinette fabric. So does that answer your question, or do you want me to talk more? Because I can talk more.
I just want to interject that I think people are very interested in the Japanese.
Okay, good. So I'm going to do German a little bit to make sure we understand the technique, and then I'm going to do Japanese. For Japanese, you need props. Let's talk about the props that are necessary for Japanese. You could just use a few pieces of 3-inch, 2 or 3 inch long waste yarn. You could use bobby pins. You could use, I'm going to pull out my handy dandy Amazon million stitch marker box. This is my favorite thing of all time. Or you can use some kind of stitch marker, some kind of removable stitch marker. And it could be those turquoise and orange ones that we all have. Maybe not the ones that clip right off and on like our for crochet. You maybe want them to be able to close like this, or like those turquoise and orange ones, or this kind of bobby pin that actually has its kind of, you know, kind of a clip. Isolde Teague uses bobby pins, which is why I have those, but I don't use them. I use stitch markers. And in fact, what I'm going to do to facilitate the process here is open them up. And then just don't stab yourself, okay? Get them ready to go. But let's talk about the process of a German short row, and then you'll understand why the Japanese works. And actually, I think if you look at my little swatch, I'll show you that again. Actually makes a neater one because it allows you to knit something tighter. Like the German short row can get a little tortured, and the Japanese short row just lets you get tighter. Okay, switch colors, make sure I don't forget to do that. Okay, so the first set of short rows on the pattern is we're going to do 28. Notice again, do you see the difference? I'm going to be doing the same. I'm going to be wrapping and turning or German short rowing, double stitching on the same stitch, but the pattern would have one stitch different, and that's what's important. How many times do I need to say that? Maybe a few more, but that's just how I roll. Okay, so I'm going to knit over to that last stitch in my swatch and do a German short row. German short rows are super easy, and once you've done them once, you'll be like, exactly like the question, why would anyone want to do a wrap and turn, says Susan? Why would you want to do it? Well, you honestly, you just have to know the difference and make sure if you don't want to do the wrap and turn, where to put your German short rows. Okay. And again, German short rows are not, don't do them with garter stitch or play around with it at first. Oh gosh, maybe you'll have knit a swatch. I'm going to be sarcastic. And you could practice your short row on the swatch and see which kind you want to do. Did I say that out loud? Okay. I have worked 28. And now I'm on the last stitch before this little set of the little garter edge, right? A German short row is worked like this. You knit 28 and you turn. Okay. And a German short row is worked so that you slip this stitch over to the right hand needle and you pull pretty hard and get ready to purl. And let me purl a few to show you. And you make what's referred to in German short row parlance as a double stitch. And that double stitch is this little guy that interlocks two stitches together, right? And it makes a little knot. And sometimes, depending on how tight or which kind of row you're on, knit or purl or cables or something, the knot can ride a little to the front or a little to the back. It doesn't matter as long as you have that intersection of two rows. Can everybody see the knot? Yeah, my camera's not focusing there. Let me get over the gray again.
And really quick, there's a question. What does DS mean?
Double stitch.
Okay, thank you.
I just answered that in the chat too.
Yeah, and that's because that's what they'll call it in all your patterns. Knit to double stitch, knit two together. And they don't mean knit the double stitch together with something else. They mean because it presents on your needle like two stitches, right? They want you to knit the double stitch as one stitch in a German short row. So let's do a purl row German short row. Hang on a second. I'm going to get there off camera. And it's taking me a long time. I'm clacking around. Okay, so in German short rows, the directions will say to knit a certain number and turn. They don't tell you, they'll tell you to work a double stitch in the next row, right? So I've purled my number of stitches and I turn, and now it wants me to work a double stitch. Let me see if I can get this on the camera. So a double stitch when you're starting, because you just purled, means you have to bring your yarn to the front first, and then slip the stitch to the right, and then pull up that knot, right? Now this knot's not secure until you knit the next stitch. Kind of like a yarn over doesn't happen until you've knit the stitch after. Once I knit a few stitches, I've brought my yarn over the top. I've made a little knot on the top of my needle. And that's my double stitch. It's a little bit different when you start from the purl side, but it knits together exactly the same. Okay, that's the double stitch. And I have directions on your handout for how to make the double stitch. You turn it, you slip it, you double stitch, work the double stitch by pulling the yarn over the top of the needle to the back. Okay, now the and you know what? I honestly don't know. I should look why one's called a German and why one's called a Japanese. I have no idea whether it actually stems from something cultural or whether it was someone German talking about it. I don't know. And that would be interesting to know. But a Japanese short row is exactly the same as a German short row without the double stitch. And you'll see in just a second. I'm going to knit 2, 3 stitches before my double stitch. And boy, are those easy to find, right? Here's my double stitch. Can you see it?
Yep.
It's a very odd little looking thing. So I want 3 stitches before that, before I do my next double stitch. Winter weather advisory till 6 p.m. everybody. 6 p.m. Monday. Isn't it nice that y'all didn't have to drive somewhere today to do this? Because half of y'all wouldn't have done it, right? You'd have all been staying home, and now at least the silver lining is when it's bad weather, we can still meet. Okay, 3 stitches before the double stitch. What I would normally do is just turn, and then to make a German short row, I would pull this over and then pull it back under, and I'm sorry, I would slip the stitch over and pull this over and pull it back under. But for Japanese short row, what I do is I slip the stitch over and I put my marker on the yarn. See, it's just on the yarn I'm going to use. I've slipped my stitch over, and instead of going over the top, and you'll see why this is going to be better and tighter, I put a marker on and I just work my way back. And that marker, wait a second, I did it too fast, getting a little cocky. I've got my yarn on my marker on the yarn, and I just start purling. So what's happening is that wrap, this little knot that would have been over the top is now held in a marker. And we'll talk about how to resolve that later. That's a Japanese one, where you don't take the yarn over at all. You just stick a marker there. Let me purl back and we'll do it again. You stick a marker on the yarn before you work it so that you can pull the double stitch up in the next row when you're resolving them. I know I'm almost out. I only have 1 minute left. Can I go a teeny bit over?
Sure. Yeah, I think we would prefer it.
Okay. It's up to you. I know you guys run a tight ship. Okay.
Okay.
Here's my last double stitch, right? I want 3 stitches before the double stitch, and let's look at how you make a Japanese short row from the right side. First we turn, then we slip. You gotta slip first or it's gonna cause it, your yarn gets in the wrong place. And then you pin a marker on your yarn. And then you just go about your business.
Come back into the camera, Ann.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Pin it
That's
on.
okay.
Oh, that happens to me every time. Here's my marker. I pull this tight as I can. And now I'm going to do this one more time so that you can see me resolve a couple of them. Three stitches before. Here's my last one. 1, 2, 3. Who cares if it's 3? Okay. I want to wrap this stitch, so I turn. I slip. I put on my whatever, bobby pin, piece of yarn, stitch holder, and I purl with that in the yarn. one more time from the purl side, and then I'll show you how to resolve them. Because that's what really matters. Doing them is one thing, but having them resolve in an unsatisfactory manner on your stockinette fabric is a real problem. Japanese short row, slip to the right, put on your pin, maybe. And I'm trying to hold everything instead of. Now, you know what? Somebody I know puts on as many short rows as they're going to do and just leaves them on here and pulls them up, kind of like beading when they need it. So that's a possibility. And then you know how many you've done. Okay, how to resolve a Japanese short row. We knit to the stitch after the stitch that has the, what do I want to say? That has the marker in the space between the two stitches before it, and we pull this up on here. Guess what that just did? Does that look familiar to anybody? So remember, the marker was on the back. The marker was just, we got to the marker's between the two stitches. And once I pull the marker, what's on the marker up onto the needle, it all of a sudden creates a double stitch. And now I resolve this double stitch just like any German short row. I knit it together. And let me show you again. So the Japanese short row basically creates a double stitch after the fact. You knit until the marker's between the stitch on the left and the stitch on the right. And then you use your marker or whatever to pull that bar up. And then it makes a double stitch. And you knit two together. And then let me get to the original German short row, which is a double stitch that you knit two together also. Remember, this was the one we pulled over the top, and I simply knit that together as if it were two stitches. And then, and that way I have resolved these. You take these pins out and they're pretty invisible. Let's talk about doing it on the purl side for stockinette. Hang on a second, I'm going to knit, I'm going to purl over to there. You don't have to watch me do that. Questions while I get there?
Yeah, there are a few. Someone asked, could you do this method on a heel turn for a sock?
Yes.
And then also, which method do you prefer?
I use the method that I've learned several methods. I do a Japanese, German, shadow wrap, regular wrap and turn. And I honestly use the method that the author of the project calls for, that the author of the pattern calls for, unless I get partway through or I start to do it and I feel like it doesn't make any sense. There's no reason why you would have to. But generally I'll do what they say, because very often everybody knows how to, if you're designing patterns, you know how to do both. And there might be, because I'm not a pattern designer, a reason why somebody would want you to wrap and turn or why somebody would want you to do this. And so I will do what they say since I know how to do the multiple kinds. So I don't have a preference, I guess is my answer. Okay, on the purl side, it's a little different, but look, you still have the bar. Now let's talk about grandma stitches or mother stitches and daughter stitches. Once I purl, here's the two stitches and the marker is between these two, the bar between these two. But once I have worked this one, it's no longer the bar between two stitches, right? It's the bar between the mother stitch, not the daughter, but that's fine. We're still going to do the same thing. We're going to pull, oopsie, we're going to pull this up and make a double stitch. I'm trying to remember, I think I like to do it back to front. No. I'm going to make the double stitch. Ugh. I don't usually, I guess I would say Japanese isn't my favorite because it's fiddly, but because it's got a thing in there. But so now I've got this little double stitch and I've got the knot riding to the back, and I honestly just purl those two together. I pulled up the wrap and I pull them together. And I continue on. And I get to, I just did the mother stitch, the daughter stitch is made now. Here's the wrap. Get it on the needle.
And once you have that on the needle, is there any reason to keep the marker there? Could you take the marker off and then?
Well, you could, except I want to finish my row, and I want to finish, like, the more often you stop and put things down and blah, 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 you run the chance of making a mistake. So
Gotcha.
usually if I've used these markers, I try to finish the whole exercise all the way across before I put everything down and fiddle with stuff.
Okay.
So there's no reason you can't take it out as you go. And if you're doing bobby pins or something that's open, you can absolutely do that. Here is a German short row that I'm going to resolve. And that also is just a matter of purl the two together. And then go back, and then you do go back in and you take these out, but I don't do it while I'm working because I don't want to drop a stitch or forget where I am. There might be a pattern, there might be counting. I just continue on, and then I take those out when I'm done. So my purl ones, see, this happens too. I think I just like a German short row because even on the purl side on this, we have the same problem with the Japanese of some of the wrap staying on the front of the fabric. The knit ones doesn't happen. That's all. Whew, sorry, 8 minutes over.
That's all
Stressing me
right.
out.
No, you're fine.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Or, so again, shameless self-promotion, I do a 2-hour piece on this on 4 different kinds.
And how do they find that, Ann? How would somebody find?
It's Ann.Kozen at Eventbrite, and I can, or Ann Kozen knits at Eventbrite. I'll type it in.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you could type that in, that would be great.
And it's basically, the Eventbrite is the place that acts kind of like Sandy's old email did, and I have all my classes listed there.
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right.
Other questions?
Mostly just comments about great presentation and many things.
Yeah, I see those. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Sure.
All right, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
You
Ann.
can unspotlight me.
All right, unspotlight me, Anna, and you guys can
Done.
change your views however you want to change them. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and continue on then with the general meeting. And Katie, is Kathy unmuted?
I'm going to unmute her now.
Nope. Kathy, are you there?
I am now.
All right, you're up.
Okay. Well, I can't remember what I don't have my. We had Ann, of course, today, and then other events we have is, you know, the typical things that go into the newsletter, book things and everything. I guess the highlight of our next guest performance is we have a mystery knitter coming to us in May. We don't want to give away who it is, but attendance will be first come, first serve. So read your newsletter. And I think that's all I have to say.
So yeah, we're working. She's got a program maybe for April. Kathy's working with Honey Girl Farms. That might happen in April.
That would be Honey Girl Farms. Yeah, she's supposed to send me a draft of her what she wanted to put together. I'm going to contact her this week and see kind of where she is on that one. So this was March. No, this is February. We're looking at March or April for Honey Girl, and then May we'll have our mystery knitter.
Right. And the reason we're not saying anything, we're just trying to firm up our dates, and we will probably have to send our money in, but it looks to be like it will be at the end of May.
We're scheduling or trying to schedule the 22nd of May, which is a week before Labor Day weekend or Memorial weekend.
Yep.
So hopefully as many people who want this will be at home and able to participate.
That's right. Okay. Thanks, Kathy.
Mhm.
Joan? Katie, can you
I just asked her to unmute.
Got it. I'm just looking in the wrong place.
Just
Hello.
Hi, Joan.
I wanted to thank all those hardy souls that met me at the library to drop off charity items today. We had Gail Saxton, Anita Hellstrom, Elizabeth Link came by, Colleen came by to get some yarn, and then one of our soon-to-be members, Joyce Arbogast, dropped off some gorgeous items. So I was really pleased. It was well worth it, and we were able to distribute some yarn. I have some trips to make to give people some yarn that weren't able to make it, that they asked me to pull some. So that's the yarn report. The items that I've gotten, including what I collected today, this is everything for this year. We've received 84 hats, 10 baby hats, 4 baby blankets, 10 baby sweaters, and those were all from Joyce, our gonna be new knitter. She gorgeous things. 4 Afghans, 6 cowls, 8 scarves that are the shawl type of scarves, 3 pair of mittens and 1 pair of socks. We also received donations of yarn, a shawl pin, and our quarter mile scarf challenge. We have received 33 scarves. Oops, my thing just flipped off, for 190 feet. So we're 12% to our goal. So we're getting there. So the scarves, we'd like to have them at least 6 inches wide, 60 inches long. That's the requirement for Back at You. Covenant House of Missouri will also receive some. We will find a good home for anything. I've also received some pretty cowls, and I'm debating on whether, since those aren't considered scarves, but depending on if we need to, I may count those towards our mileage. So I'll measure those and use it if I need to. So we've got till the end of the year. We may even go over a quarter mile. You never know. So that's the charity portion. I did want to promote Riola, and I also have a hat challenge that we started again this year. The January hat was the hedgerow hat, and I don't think you can tell a lot of the detail, but anyway, Anita made one. So Anita's is prettier. So you can see it's lighter. So that's hedgerow. The February hat is the Harcourt hat. And that's an interesting hat. And the next hat for March is going to be the February hat. So it's got a lot of stitch detail.
Oh, that's cute.
So that's and that one is free. The other 2 weren't. Sometimes if they're offering a hat for free, I'll glob onto it in case it's something that we use for a project. But you can challenge yourself with another friend. You can do something different. There's a thread on Ravelry. I guess I should have pointed out the items behind me. Those were some of the blankets and 2 scarves that Gail made that came in today. And I did want to show off a couple of things because they're just gorgeous. I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't have good light. Let's see. This is a real pretty cowl. This is a pretty cowl. I mean, these are just pretty yarns. And then there was this scarf, real light and airy. So we have those. Some more of Anita's work. That's dark, can't see that. Let's see, what else looks good? We have mittens, pair of socks, and then Elizabeth Link turned in a bunch of some really cute baby items. She turned into baby scarves, but we had preemie hats and another little baby hat, and another cute little hat. So keep your knitting, keep it coming. If you can't deliver it, you know, we'll get it and get it distributed. As you know, the hats we usually save till the fall. The other things we can distribute as they're needed. The scarves, the ones for Back at You are going to be, they requested that they get those at the beginning of the summer. So we're hoping to get those. If you wanted to go to Back at You, to make sure you get that to me by the Memorial Day weekend, I think is probably a good date. But next month, I'm going to try to be at the library again. Hopefully the weather will be a little bit better. But I think that's about it. We'll put that information out in the newsletter if we're going to have a drop-off date. April, maybe I won't be the one doing it since it's tax season.
That's true.
So I'll probably be at my desk. So if you want to drop them off at the office, but I won't be at the library. So that's all I have, unless somebody has any questions about anything. That's it.
All right, Mary?
Let's see. Facebook membership is up a few percent again this month, and we have a high level of participation. Out of a total of 424 members, 379 are actually active. Obviously, that includes a lot of people that aren't in the guild, but it's us guild people that keep that page going and keep it popular. And I know we have had some people who started on the Facebook group who have joined and become members later. So please, whenever there's somebody that waved at me, so that's one person. So please, you know, when you finish an object or anything interesting comes along that's got anything to do with knitting, please go ahead and repost it to the guild Facebook page, because I don't know, I enjoy looking at those. I don't know if everybody does, but I sure do. Oh, at least 379 people enjoy looking at them, I guess is a good way to say it. YouTube, we're at about 52 subscribers. We have a large number more than that are viewing our videos, which is good. But if you're a member of the guild, it'd be nice if you can go ahead and subscribe to our channel and get and set up notifications so you know when new stuff comes out. And I think that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, thanks, Mary. Samantha?
Oh, I thought I was next.
Oh, you can go next, and then we'll do Samantha.
Okay, just because I haven't unmuted her. So just really quickly, kind of going off of what Mary was talking about, our Instagram numbers are up. We have 120 or 112 followers, and we're still getting like double-digit likes for every post, which is great. Thanks for people who are following us and liking our stuff. We're also getting some designers and dyers following us, which I think is very cool. And hopefully, you know, my mind always goes to luncheon items. So hopefully we can parlay that maybe into some donations down the road, which would be excellent. And we also have a few new members. I'm not sure if they are here today, but if they are, I want to welcome Joanne Devine, Krista Hyde, and Donna Rogers, as well as Karen Bryant. So thank you to people who are joining, you know, during these weird times. We really appreciate you being here, and welcome to the guild. And now
Everything?
Unmute Samantha.
Okay. Thanks, Katie. Samantha? I think you have your mute on too.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm multitasking here. Trying to, y'all talk fast. Okay. Yeah, just briefly, for the month of January, we started our beginning balance with $18,937.11. We didn't really collect dues. No one joined in January, but they did join in February. But anyway, and then just our expenses were Zoom, and then the Land's End bag for Sandy Kulash. And so that got us to an ending balance of $18,862 and 32 cents. So that's all I got.
Thanks. Okay, Katie's going to go through and unmute everybody one by one. And if you could just do your show and share, and then hopefully we'll have some time at the end if you have questions. But for this portion, if you could just do your show and share so we can get through to everybody. There's quite a few people to get through. So Katie, do you want to start your show and share?
I have nothing. So let me just get clarity. I'm unmuting one person at a time.
Yeah, just go through the list.
All
Yeah.
right.
I'm here. I don't really have anything I've done. I'm just working on a pair, but on one.
Okay. Vicky
That's it.
Berry, do you have anything? I'm asking people to unmute, but they have to click the screen to unmute themselves.
You want me
Yes.
or what?
Show and share if you have.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Mary Dale Bannister.
I just have this eyelash scarf that I'm working on. It's actually a really extra long cowl for wrapping, but that's all I've got today.
Nice.
Laura, do you have anything?
No.
Okay.
No,
knitting
I'm
Oh,
just working on a scarf.
okay. Let's see. Harris, do you have anything? You can give me a thumbs down if it's no. Thumbs down. Okay. Kathy, do you have anything?
I'm working on my sweater,
That's
but I'm
nice.
not done yet. So, but I'm getting there.
I like the color. Let's see. Sandra, do you have anything? Oh, you got to click the unmute button for yourself.
I came back on again. Okay. A pair of real warm socks, slipper socks for my daughter. The pattern, I started on it, and the next day they took the pattern down off the website. So I kind of just fudged it. And now I've got to remember what I did for the second one. But it's using 2 yarns and size 10 needles. It hurts my hands. I hate working with those great big needles and that thick yarn. I haven't started on the next one yet, and I need to. It's for my daughter's birthday this month.
Look great.
Sandra. Joni, do you have anything? Nope. Okay. Ursel, do you have anything? Nope. Okay. Samantha, do you have anything? Nope. Barbara Whitman, do you have anything?
I do.
Okay.
So I took the scarf pattern that was in the newsletter, and I have one of those, and I've got another one started. So hopefully I can contribute to those many miles.
Love it. Thank you, Barbara.
It also required me to order some of the blocking pads, which I thought was an added asset to the pattern.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Gracia, do you have anything?
Remember our bingo game? I won the most wonderful sock yarn. And this, I just finished a course with Ann and how to make socks. It's my first sock.
Oh,
I'm
beautiful.
almost done with the second one. The yarn was just wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gracia. Susan, do you have anything? I see on your phone it says Suki J. I was like, who's that? But
Yeah, that's me. I'm just working on a pillow cover. So
oh, nice.
I got this pillow form because it was for a thing at my son's school, and it didn't quite work out, and so now I'm going to make myself a pillow. So
There you go.
Love it. Jackie, do you have anything? Oh, you got to click the unmute button, Jackie. See you right there.
Oh, there it went back. Okay, yeah, I didn't make it to the drop off today. I mean, it was just kind of cold, but I've got lots. I've been crocheting because it goes really fast, and that way I can get them done. But I've got about 6 scarves to drop off next time. Hopefully the weather will be good. So yeah, so you can add about 36 feet to that list of
Yay.
scarves.
Thanks, Jackie. Karen, do you have anything to show and share?
I have a pair of socks I've been working on forever. But I've moved twice in the last 2 months. So these are in process, but maybe by next meeting they'll be done. Maybe.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
Okay. Susan Ratner, do you have anything? No? Okay. I love the thumbs down, everybody. Thank you. May Webster, do you have anything? Nope. Thumbs down. Okay. Sharon Cardwell, do you have anything?
I'm almost done with this scarf. That's the only thing I've been working on lately. It's just taking so long, but anyway.
It looks nice. Thanks, Sharon. Lynette, do you have anything?
Yeah, I finished my second mitten.
Wow.
Ooh, those are pretty.
No, I didn't. I still have a thumb I need to do. Right there. See the red part right there?
Yeah.
I have to put my thumb there.
Those are beautiful, Lynette. Lee, do you have anything?
Yes.
Okay, two things. I have a, oh, that's weird. So this is a charity hat I made. It's from Tin Can Knits. And the reason why I'm highlighting them is because the name of it's called, I forgot the name of it. Anthology, that's it, Anthology. And in it, she's got a whole slew of patterns. And you just mix and match and come up with whatever yarn and whatever pattern you want. So it's just a generic, has all different yarns you can use, yarn weights, all different colors, black and white and everything. So this is a great charity hat for little odds and ends you might happen to have. And the other thing is just, I am 2 inches from finishing this scarf. It's red heart, it's yucky stuff. But when you put 2 worsteds together, it's so thick and it's almost like brioche. I mean, it's squishy. Somebody's they're gonna fight over this. So that's it.
Thanks, Lee. It's beautiful. Okay, Colleen, do you have anything?
I always have something going, but I got 1 mitt down, 1 to go, so I will finish them.
Those are pretty, Colleen. Jane, do you have anything? Thumbs down. Okay, thank you. Melba, Miss Melba, anything? Nothing? Okay. Linda, what are you saying, Melba?
I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you. Linda, do you have something? Thumbs down. Okay. Irma Lynn, anything?
Yeah.
Oops. Irma Lynn, I accidentally muted you. Sorry. Can you unmute yourself, Irma Lynn? There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sorry about that.
Oh, I just want to show I made a whole bunch of hats like this, and I kept 2 of them for myself. Here's one of them. It's called the Hidden Valley ski hat. And here I made the same pattern in a whole bunch of different colors. Here's the other one.
Oh, good.
Nice. That's
That's
so
it.
pretty.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Irma Lynn. Gerda, thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you have anything? Thumbs up. All right.
Good.
There you go.
Am I
You're
there?
good. Yep.
Let me see. I have these, let me see.
Oh, they
These,
blend into your
toast-
background.
Yeah,
There you go.
these tough and toasty mitts, fingerless mitts.
They're nice. They blend into your green screen. There you go. That's perfect.
Can you see them?
Yes.
They're fast to knit. And they're very close to your hand.
Excellent.
That's it. That's
Thanks,
it.
Gerda. Eileen, do you have anything? Okay.
I've been working on some gloves. So I have the knitting all done, but now I count 10 ends to weave in.
If you
So
were
maybe
me,
by next meeting.
I was gonna say, if you were me, Eileen, you'd set those down and pick them up in 4 months.
No, I won't let myself do that. Got to finish it before I start anything else.
They're beautiful. Thanks, Eileen.
Thank you.
Jody, do you have anything?
I have a beginning of a baby Mary Jane baby booty. So it doesn't look like much, but I've tried it a few times and kept ripping it out. But I do, when this meeting ends, I do have a question because I'm having trouble getting on to this.
Oh,
So
sure.
if somebody could, Mary Dale has helped me, but it's kind of messy.
Well, yeah, when we're done with show and share,
Because
I'm
I
happy
didn't
to,
get the directions or anything.
yeah, when we're done with show and share, I'm happy.
Thank you.
I can help you offline. That's not a problem at all. Mikkel, thumbs up or down?
Perfect, thank you.
Mikkel does.
I just wanted to say hi to everyone since
It's been a long
so
time.
long. and I'll show y'all my swatch for a sweater called 11s that I'm making for my little guy who is being kind of noisy in the background. But I just wanted to say hi everyone and I miss you.
Good to see you,
Miss you
Mikkel.
too.
Hi.
Baby, can we see the baby?
Oh, hey, Street.
Yeah.
Street. Can you come here? They want to see the baby. He's got food on his face. He just finished an hour-long lunch of broccoli and cheese and
I kind of
fresh
got.
carrots. Yeah, that's why I was so late to the meeting because it took so long to feed him. Jesus. But here he is. Here's my little man. Hi.
Hold him up.
Hi. Look at my chunky
Yeah.
butt.
Oh,
Can you say
what
hi,
a sweetie.
He's adorable.
If you're
So
happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Oh.
He's adorable.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh,
Good
What's his name
boy.
again? What's his name again?
Bricklin.
Bricklin.
Yeah.
So cute.
Oh.
Hey, say hey. Yeah, that's my
Oh.
boy.
How old is he now?
He is 1 year old. He just turned 1 on the 23rd. So.
Oh my
I
God.
knew it was around this time.
Yeah. He's gotten so much bigger since the last time I had him on the video. I think it was probably like maybe almost a year ago.
So cute.
Welcome,
Thank
Brooklyn.
you.
We're glad to meet you.
Yeah.
Brooklyn,
I hope he
welcome
becomes a
anytime.
knitter.
I hope so too. I'll teach him.
Thank you. He's adorable.
Thanks,
Thank
Mikkel.
you.
Anita, do you have anything?
Go to daddy.
Yeah, I was just going to say that when I saw Joan today, she gave me a bag of scraps of yarn, and I'm making like the ultimate no finishing project. I cast on about 250 stitches and with 2 different colors of yarn, leave enough for a fringe and just change colors every row. So there's absolutely no finishing. When you're done, you're done.
My kind of project.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how it's finished in the next month.
Thanks, Anita. Margie, do you have anything? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Thumbs down. Okay. Samantha, anything? Thumbs down. Okay. Chelsea, do you have anything? Okay.
I just finished it's called the Marion Berry Cowl. I just finished it this morning and it's really cozy, super warm, and that's it.
Beautiful.
Good.
Okay. Commodore Jane, do you have anything? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Oh, you're muted, Jane.
Shoot.
There you go. There you go.
I have finished several scarves already and quite a few hats. So
Excellent.
And I'm working on a baby blanket for a neighbor whose daughter or son are going to have a baby.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank
Let's see. Diane, do you have anything? Thumbs down. All right. I'm looking through. Gail, do you have anything? Okay. Oh, there you go.
There we go. I'm in between scarves working on a baby sweater for Wool Aid. But I'd like to take a quick opportunity to sincerely thank a member from Cape Girardeau who was on the January 23 knit-in, who suggested that some of us St. Louisans might want to register for COVID shots down in Cape. And it worked for us. Less than 2 weeks later, my husband was able to take advantage of that. And that's just a huge relief. So I'm sorry I don't remember the name of the person who suggested that, but thank you ever so much.
Well, that's really great to hear. Oh, Sandra, was it you? Okay. Hang on, Sandra, I'm unmuting you. What were you saying? Oh, you're still muted, Sandra. There you go.
All right, sorry. I said I live in Cape, and I knew that people were coming from all over. It was not just for this county, so that's why I suggested it. I know that St. Louis is so far behind on distribution.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sandra. And
you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I love to hear that the Guild, we're helping each other in more than just knitting. So that's really awesome.
Right.
Thanks to everyone for that. Okay. Joanne, thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I have a scarf, and I have 2 other ones that are finished. So I'm well on my way. I gave away 15 baby hats to Birthright yesterday. So, you know, when you're bored, you're bored.
I love it. Thanks, Joanne. Pat, do you have anything to show and share? No. Thumbs down. Thank you. Joan Rangel.
Unmute.
Yep, you're on.
I keep disappearing. I'm working on the February hat, so.
Oh, nice.
That's about it.
Okay, thanks, Joan. Dee Dee.
Okay, I do have something. I got my little Christmassy shorty socks done. Can you see them?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can.
And then I dyed some yarn the other day. This already caked up, and it was cream colored, and then I sprinkled it with black, blue, and a gray color. And so yesterday, took some of that off, and I over dyed that to have a blue. I used some navy and a blue to a gray to fix it so that I could do my own pair that matched the other one, so there'd be speckled feet and just the top and toes would be gray or the blue. And I had enough leftover dye to dye a whole skein.
Wow.
Awesome.
So it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll play with this one and take, you know, like 20 grams off is all you really need for toes and this, because I do the heel flap. I don't really know how to do the afterthought heel, and I kind of don't want to mess up my brain. So but this blue turned out. My son is here from California, and to visit with his friend that's got terminal cancer, and so they're staying with us. And he says, "Well, I like those. I like that color, so maybe these will be socks for him." So he only wears a size 14. So Kathy, I think Kathy Schoenwall, your husband's got big feet too. And
Yeah,
so it's like, oh,
I had to
Lord,
make
have
his.
mercy.
He
Take a while to knit. I drew his foot on 2 pieces of paper today, so I would know. I would have something to go by because he's leaving on Monday. So
Well, good luck with that, because I had to do a 10-inch cuff too.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to buy two hanks of yarn.
Okay, thanks for the warning.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all for me.
Thanks, Dee Dee. I think I got everyone. If I missed you, can you wave at me now to make so I'm not okay? Looks like I got everybody. Thanks, everybody. I know we tried that a different way, and it looks like we got through everyone. So that was great.
That's great.
Also, I got a message. It was a direct message from Jane that said, if you're retired military or know anyone that's retired military, call Scott Air Force Base. There are COVID shots available there. So that's a good tip too. Thanks for that.
Katie,
Okay.
if you want to just go through and start unmuting, and then we could just have free knitting for the last half hour.
Yep.
And if anybody has a question or a comment, I'm happy to hear it now, or anybody on the board. Or we can just knit. I will tell you.
Oh,
go ahead,
Gracia. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I've been taking up the challenge for the hats, and I'd like to post them on Ravelry, and I always get confused. To put it on the thread, I have to pay $5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do I
to do it directly from a phone to the thread? You have to pay $5, but there is a way to do it for free. I think you've got to. Go ahead, Joe.
If you put the pattern on your project page,
yeah,
you can then in a thread link to the project page and get the picture there.
Right.
And
So
I find
yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Okay,